Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Connor Williams, joined by Alex, and today we're going to be doing the extra time segment on the Everton-Manchester United game that finished 2-1. First things first, Alex, give me your overall thoughts on the game, mate.
A frustrating one, to be honest. It was an odd sort of game. I think I saw a lot of people saying that once we went ahead, we really kind of lost our way. But in all honesty, I actually don't think even before the goal, like Iwobi's goal or whatever, I don't really think we ever really got going. It was just one of those where like everyone kind of seemed to just have a bit of an off day. And like immediately after the game, I was really concerned. But I think with a bit of time to like digest it and that, it might just be one of those days where, like I say, just people aren't quite just at the races really, and maybe there's not too many deep concerns. Maybe a bit of a mix of the two. I'm not sure, but I'm sure we'll get into it all.
Yeah. Well, starting off 5 minutes in, like you said, Iwobi breaks the deadlock. Really nice goal. Talk me through this. It's one for the cameras, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah. And I think it's shut a lot of people up who like are still saying that yeah, he's playing a lot better, but is the end product's still not quite there. But he started chipping in with assists recently, and now finally, I think that's his first goal since the famous Newcastle one. I want to say so. And like you say, beautiful goal, really well taken, and really just showing what he could do. And yeah, unfortunately, that was about as good as it got. Really, I think a really good start to the game. The atmosphere's bouncing, and then after that, it just kind of just petered out really, unfortunately.
Yeah. Like you said, it started to peter out. We had Anthony score as well. I think that's his third goal in 3 games. So great little goal scoring streak for him. Yeah, talk me through this one. Nice little finish, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, but it's frustrating that it was like our own mistake that led to it. It's a poor pass from Ghana, like but maybe a bit of miscommunication between him and Awobi, but overhits the pass and then lose out. And yeah, like you say, Anthony takes it really well. I've seen people on Twitter like today and that criticizing Pickford a little bit. I think that once Anthony's in that position, I don't think there's too much Pickford could have done anyway. People saying maybe his positioning could have been better. Some people saying he was a bit indecisive about coming out or not. But I think Anthony was like had a very good chance of scoring no matter what Pickford did there. So I don't think you can really lay too much blame at his door. And like I say, just frustrating. There were so many sloppy passes, especially in that first half, and we just seemed unable to string a pass together or hold onto the ball and stuff like that, and we ended up getting punished by it.
Yeah, I felt like that was quite the theme for the game. Struggling to get a hand on the ball, and the stats suggest that as well. I think it's like 60% possession for Manchester United, to our 40, which I think when watching it, you sort of imagine that it's going to be quite a wide divide. The second goal came just before half time. Cristiano Ronaldo, um, that's his 700th in club football, I think it is, which is absolutely incredible. Casemiro assist as well. Talk me through this one.
Yeah, and similar, typical, isn't it? Really, Ronaldo gets that stat there after being memed almost about not being able to get off the bench or whatever. It was an odd substitution in the first place. I was in the ground. I don't think anyone was too sure why Martial was changed. I still haven't seen now whether or not it was an injury or what, but it was a really odd substitution early on in the game. Ronaldo comes on and, like you say, takes it really well. But it's the same again. It's a Wobie this time. It's a poor decision. Tries to take on Casemiro. He easily shuts it down, and it's just a simple pass from Ronaldo's in. And Ronaldo's not going to miss in a position like that. Similar thing, frustrating really, and yeah, just our own mistakes for our undoing in the end. And I thought United played really well, but they still didn't really threaten too much. I actually think after that late flurry at the end, we ended up having pretty much similar number of shots on goal, but like I say, just our own mistakes cost us, and yeah, they managed the game a lot better than us, really.
Yeah, pretty much from the second half starting. I don't think there was massively much to go on apart from obviously Rashford's goal that was denied. A little bit lucky that it's denied sort of thing. Um, could have been easily be 3-1. Talk me through this. Do you think it was the right call?
Well, as you say, it was quite a lucky goal in the first place. I think he got a few bounces of the ball in his favour, but but watching it back, like we weren't sure. I don't think anyone in the ground even considered it might have been handball. And once the VAR review came up, we were just a bit like we were like delighted, obviously, but it was just a bit like, where on earth has that come from? But and yeah, watching it back, you'd be absolutely livid if that was given against us. It's a just inexplicable decision, really, and like you say, lucky for it not to have been free. Rashford had Coleman like skinned pretty much throughout the game. Probably deserved a goal for it in the end, but yeah, just another odd VAR decision, and it's one that's going to, like, believe it or not, count in our favour, which almost certainly means we're going to be getting screwed over in the next few weeks. So we can look forward to that one.
Yeah, I was about to say when you said about it coming up on the board, I was about to say I bet many thought it was going to go against us just because that's how it seems to go with us at the minute. But yeah, like you said, really, really tough game to watch. You mentioned sort of Ghana Gueye. I saw a couple. I don't think any player had a great game, but Ghana Gueye, I think it's fair to say, had one of his poorer appearances in an Everton top, which he doesn't have often, to be fair to him. But struggled today, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely, and I'm gonna have to go ahead and say it and say that I think we might have slightly like exaggerated how good he seems to have got since he left. I actually do think like mostly the same player that left Everton in 2019, which is still fine because obviously he was still a brilliant player while he was here, and he's still one of our best players now. But I've been guilty of it myself, seeming to think that his passing's got a lot better, and he's much more composed on the ball. I think the last few games we're starting to see that maybe that's not quite the case. He was at fault for the goal against Southampton, and like I say, at fault again for Anthony's first. And yeah, he really struggled with United's midfield. Obviously, it's one of the best midfields in the Prem. Bruno Fernandes, Ericsson, and Casemiro. Like, any player is going to struggle to deal with that. I think it's too harsh to like single out individuals. Like I say, no one had a good game, as you say. So it's harsh to single out individuals, I think. And but yeah, game was one of the poor performers, I'd say.
Yeah, obviously you mentioned Pickford. I saw I think I've seen the same tweet that you're on about. Is it this? It's like all stats about him coming out too soon or not soon enough, sort of thing. I think we might have seen the same tweet where people were saying he needed to come out. I think it was he needs to come out faster. I've got a feeling we saw the same tweet. But I mean, like you said, there's not much you can do when it's Anthony took his really well, and when it's Ronaldo, it's only, regardless of like you said, the internet sort of reaction. It was only going to be one way, wasn't it? Once he's through.
Yeah, definitely. The work's already done by the time. Like, both times, it's one simple through ball and they're both away. There's no chance of any like defender getting back and getting in the way of it. It's a one on one, and like, no matter who the goalie is, no matter who the striker is, in any scenario, you're gonna back the striker to score in a one on one. That's just how football is. And yeah, Pickford, like, on another day might have. If he'd been in like tip-top form, having made a few saves before, but as I've mentioned, United didn't really have too many other shots in the game. That's the thing; they don't have. I actually don't remember Pickford making a save during the match. I think I've seen United on about 4 shots on target. Obviously, that's 2 of the goals, and I can remember Tarkowski and Cody making a few blocks, so that probably accounts for all of them. And so yeah, it's perhaps a tad bit of indecisiveness on Pickford's part, but as you say, I don't think you can really criticise him for 2 goals that were clearly down to individual mistakes by other players.
Yeah, I completely agree. Curious to know what your thoughts on somebody. I think I saw somebody say the other day that Frank Lampard is sort of never makes a sub before the hour mark. Again, yesterday, 67 minutes in. Do you feel like when Dwight McNeil came on was the right time, or do you think we could have done with changing it a little bit earlier? Gordon, I think he's, like everyone, struggled. Like you said, I don't want to single him out as well, but I think he, like many others, struggled to make an impact yesterday.
Yeah, it wasn't Gordon's best game either. In fact, yeah, he was probably the weakest player on the pitch for us. Just could not get involved whatsoever, and it was probably the right call bringing McNeil on for him. And like you say, you could argue it maybe should have been done a bit quicker, but I think a lot of people have been criticising Lampard's actual decisions when he makes the subs, and I can kind of understand that one here. I think moving Iwobi to right back was a inexplicable decision. Like it wasn't his best game either, and like he was, he wasn't quite playing the way he has done this season, like picking out passes and stuff with that much success. I think he struggled particularly with Casemiro, but he completely lost any sort of impetus at right back. We've seen before he's much better in the centre of the park than out wide anyway, and of course he's not a defender whatsoever. I think it really hits hard at that problem of without Patterson, if Coleman's our only option at right back, we are very bare in that position. And Coleman was particularly struggling, and I think the age is really starting to play a part there, and he's not the player he was. And then sending Calvert Lewin on, I can understand why he did that. The focus of our attacks really seemed to change once he came on. You could see that having that outlet that Maupay just doesn't provide, we had a lot more of like a target to go for and like something to build our attacks around. But even he like struggled, and you can still talk about the timing of his jumps not being the best and whatever. He's not quite as effective in the air as we want to remember him being, I don't think. And maybe that's just rustiness or lack of fitness, and it'll come soon. But yeah, we need him firing soon, because going forward we're still not the best. But James Garner as well, you've got to mention him as well. He came on and looks pretty good, to be fair. I'd like to see him be given a lot more minutes as soon as possible, really, because once he was on, he was one of our few players who could actually pick out a pass. So yeah, that's invaluable. So yeah, odd substitution decisions, but yeah, I can see why people.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned DCL and the sort of the shots we were having. I think we'd had like, I think it was 10 shots. We had like 11 shots, and only 2 of them were on target. A lot, to be fair, 6 of them were blocked, but still 10 shots. It seems to be a bit of a thing this season where the shots we're having on target, they're not making the keeper struggle. And I think the XG for us this season suggests the shots we are scoring are a little bit more difficult. So people were saying maybe that's lack of creativity, but now I'm thinking it's more maybe Dominic Calvert-Lewin we're missing, like you said. I mean, I don't think he was ever going to come on and score yesterday. He's going to have to be slowly integrated back into the squad. But he certainly gives us something, doesn't he? Because I feel like the last couple of games, we've been playing like he's in the squad when he hasn't. We've been putting the balls in the box, and we've just got no one to aim for, really, other than I think Onana is one that we keep aiming for from set pieces. But DCL, we sort of need back on form, don't we?
Yeah, well, you mentioned Onana there, and like you say, he's got that incredible height, and obviously being able to reach a lot of the balls. But once he gets there, it's just not quite there. He doesn't really know what to actually do with it. And you talk about the comparisons with Fellaini once upon a time, but Fellaini was a beast in the air, and Onana's just not quite there yet. I hope that's something we're already looking at, and trying to like train it in his game, making him better in the air. But yeah, I completely agree. I think we've been sending in a lot of crosses all season when we haven't had anyone who can actually get on the end of them. And I think just having someone who can win a header, someone for Pickford to be able to pick out from goal kicks and stuff like that, so that we don't have to play it short and try and build from the back. I think that it just gives us an extra dimension, really, and hopefully gives us more opportunities to find the net, because, as you say, we're definitely not scoring enough at the moment. We're a lot more defensive, solidly, but yeah, it's just the goals aren't quite coming yet, are they?
No, it's something that maybe comes come January as well when we get some more creative players. Or like you said, if we play Garner, in fact you can pick out a pass. I thought he was quite impressive when he came on as well, quite level-headed. Maybe he plays, he starts trying to break his way into the team as a playmaker, somebody who can pick out the pass. Interestingly enough, I agree with what you said about Onan. I saw someone tweet saying when he learns to head, he's going to be an absolute machine because he's tall and he does win them. But unfortunately, like you said, he's not quite Fellaini, where if he wins a header, it tends to at least be on target. I think he's got to learn how to get them on target. But once he does, I think that'll help us massively. He's freakishly tall. I was talking to my dad before, and I was trying to figure out is he taller than Yerry Mina, and is he taller than Fellaini when Fellaini played? Because when he's on the pitch, he absolutely towers everybody else.
Well, yeah, being along, Gay and Iwobi, he's always going to tower out of them three, much taller option. And yeah, I think it's what 6'4", 6'5". I think that's about the same as Fellaini was, about the same as Yerry Mina is. And yeah, like you say, it's similar as well. You look at that team and you don't really see who's going to be a goal scorer. Before Calvert-Lewin comes in, Morpay, Gordon, and Gray are probably maybe good for about 5 goals each a season. And that's if they're on good form. Um, I don't think any of them are anywhere near those numbers yet. And just having that extra option in midfield, and like I was saying as well about Iwobi, is he finally gets the goal against United, but that's his first goal in a while. Those goals aren't quite coming yet either. And yeah, just having that extra dimension, and he's good at getting forward as well. So bombing forward into the box. If once he's able to win a header, like you say, it's just an extra option, an extra goal scorer in that team, hopefully.
Yeah, I think I think we do need January. Saw some people a bit worried. I think my head didn't fall off. This was like the first uninspiring defeat. It's not the first defeat, but the first one where I thought, look a bit like Everton of last season. But that doesn't mean I don't nearly think we're in as much trouble as we are last season. The squad's a lot more updated. I think it was one of those games where we just weren't at the races against a team that on their day are very good when everything clicks at United. And unfortunately, that was one of those days where it clicked with them and we just weren't at the races for them, were we?
Yeah, exactly that. James Tarkowski has said similar in a post today on Instagram, I think it was, just saying it's the first time this season that we just haven't really shown up. You look at defeats early on in the season. You look at Chelsea, we actually played pretty well, but we just came a bit unstuck. There hasn't really been a bad performance yet this season before this one, and I think that's all you can really say. Really, like you say, just everyone just had a bit of an off day. Just things weren't coming off. You could see the frustration in them, and that's that's the difference for me. You can see there's a lot more team spirit in the side compared to last season. There were times you could criticise the players last year when we were performing that they just didn't seem to care, but the attitude's so much better. And having a Tarkowski and a Cody and Onana as well, his attitude's superb. Just having players like that in there just completely revolutionises attitude in the team and just that will to win that will mean that a lot more times this season, even when we don't play well, we'll get a result. And we could have got a result in that game. We really started to, especially towards the end, we really just started to just bomb it in, and we were causing them issues. I saw a stat that we had more shots in added time than we did in the whole match, just because we got a few corners and we just managed to get a few chances off. And, even Pickford nearly scored. So that's what I mean. It's there's just a lot more hope in a side now compared to last season, where as soon as you go 1-0 down, you think, well, that's the game gone now. We don't have the character to get back into that match, and it's all completely different now. So no knee-jerk reactions from me, and I think people now are starting to realise that now the game's a bit further in the past.
Yeah, definitely. I think like you said, it's and the players are are telling each other as well. They're not letting last season people make mistakes, everyone's head had dropped, they'd sort of just turn their head, drop it down and walk away. Now players are letting other players know when they're sort of not messing up, but you know what I mean, when they demand more from them, which again just shows a bit of fight. It's something we wanted in this squad, and it's something I think we've got. I don't think I'll be reading too much into this result going forward. I don't think it's a wheels have come off performance, and I don't think it leads to wheels coming off either. I think it was just a bad day at the office. Everybody has them. Before we finish, I'm going to ask you for your man of the match.
I said in my player ratings video that I think there's only two players that can hold their head up high, and actually they did all right. And it's both the centre backs, Tarkowski and Cody. They've probably been our most consistent, up there with our most consistent performers all season. And I think Tarkowski in particular was the only one who seemed to just every time he was on the ball, he just seemed composed, and you think, oh, he'll pick out a pass, he won't give it away, he'll make the right decision and retain possession for us. So I think I'd have to give it to him.
Yeah, I would be alongside. I think either that or Yeah, I'd probably go Tarkowski as well. The two centre backs have changed this side up massively. I think that's fair. Um, I think that's also everything I've got time for. So thank you for joining me, Alex. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, mate.
Yeah, you too, mate. Obviously, hopefully, we can talk about more wins coming up, but we'll see.
As you say, it'd be nice to cover the wins. This is sort of reminding me of what it was like doing them last season, and I'm like, you missed the winning now all of a sudden. But don't forget, guys, to like the video as well. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and comment down below your thoughts on the game and give us your man of the matches. We look forward to reading them very soon, and I'll see you guys later.